Welcome to Season 2 of Heart of the Gulch YouTube show. Today on this episode, we have former professional athlete, Miss USA, and a rock pop musician, Whitney Miller. And if you like the content we provide, please subscribe, and let's get on to the episode. We are in the heart of the Gulch. My name is Tony Mendoza, and today we have a kick-ass. Not only she can kick my ass, she can kick everyone's ass, and that's including in the music industry, the amazing, the phenomenal, the beautiful Whitney Miller in the building. What's going on?
Hey, what's up?
You know, I had to do a double take. I totally slurred my words around when I was doing that intro, and I've been messing up every intro for the past couple weeks now. I don't know what it is about 2023. Hopefully 2023 is not starting the same way I'm doing my intros.
Well, I mean, you never know. It'll give you a second chance. Second chances, we hand them out here. Why not?
Hey,
don't you worry.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely.
At least I hope. My God, give me a second chance.
Well, okay, so let's talk about how your year's been so far. You've been on a freaking rampage, girl.
Yes.
Rampage. And not only that, from 2022 rampage when it comes to music, but I kind of want to know Whitney from before the music.
Okay,
so talk about it. So I saw that you had a Corpus Christi phone number. That was kind of interesting.
I do. 361, baby. 361. I still have it. I've had this. I was like, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I've had this number since 7th grade.
Had mine since 6th grade. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Like as soon as I got my first phone, I just kept the same number. So every once in a while, I'll get a random text message from somebody, and I'm like, I don't know who you are.
It's so, you know what's so interesting too is so for the folks that don't know there, Corpus Christi is 361 is the area code. And it is such I never see it because I'm from San Antonio, so I'm used to 210.
Wait a minute. I didn't know you were a Texas boy.
That's right. Born and raised. So I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
Amazing.
Hispanic. Believe it or not. And also went to Texas A&M University. I'm guessing you're a Texas gal?
Yep. Born and raised in Corpus, and I went to Texas State.
Ooh. So what is y'all's? Y'all's is this, right?
The Bobcats.
Yeah. Y'all go like that. Yeah, okay. Well, man, Texas State, man, that's one school that I've had the best of times in San Marcos, Texas.
Understandable. Probably the best, and you probably don't even remember some of the ones that you had there, but...
That's the fun of it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that about just that school, and not only that, Texas A&M did put a number on me as well, but... So, how long did you live in Texas overall?
I moved to Nashville 1 year ago, 2022, December of 2022.
Man.
And I've lived there my entire life. I've never lived anywhere else other than Texas. Now, I've traveled a lot, so I think that kind of helps me.
You do travel a lot.
But, yeah, I've been in Texas my entire life.
How would you compare to an outsider? So the people that are watching this in Texas, the people that are watching that are born in Nashville, which is actually very few that I'm realizing. How would you compare the two?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about Nashville and Austin, because I was in Austin 10 years before I came here, they're so similar. Like we call them sister cities. You know, they have the river that goes through the middle of downtown.
Yes.
Like there's so much music, although there's way more music here.
So much more music here.
I do think Tennessee is more beautiful. Like there's the trees and the seasons. We just don't get that. The hills. Seasons. Like I was just blown away by fall here when I moved here. So there's definitely those aspects. Y'all's food, though, Nashville needs to step up your game. Like, quit playing now.
Hold up a second. Hold on. I'm going to be the voice. In the heart of the Gulch, we love both states. But I got to say something. There is one thing that Mexican food is not a thing here in Nashville. They don't know how to make really good Mexican food here. What do they not make good enough for you here? What do you think from Nashville?
Well, I've had a good steak. Sushi, not great here.
Oh, no. Well, we're landlocked.
Mexican, not great here. There's a couple of good Italian restaurants, but not as good as Texas.
No,
and obviously your hot chicken is awesome. I love it, but I can't eat hot chicken every day.
And it's a different type of barbecue.
It is a different type of barbecue.
It's more pulled pork. And in Austin, though, you have that brisket.
Yeah.
You got that, I think it's Franklin's over there, right? It was Franklin's. And man, it basically, I was talking to this with Peg Leg Porker this season, and they have the trifecta. Texas has the trifecta between Austin, in between College Station and Houston, that little triangle. And you can get some of the best barbecue in the world.
It's amazing.
Hey, shout out to that. I haven't had lunch today, so all I've had is just a little bit of bourbon right now. That's about it.
Oh, here we go.
It'll be a fun time. But anyway, so talk to me about just how moving to Nashville has woken your eyes up to, like you said music is a big thing here. And not only a big thing here, we had South by Southwest. Right. And there was nothing wrong with South by Southwest, but there wasn't the amount of local music that there is here in Nashville. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Without a doubt. I mean, everyone talks about how Austin is a music city, and it is, but not when you come to Nashville. You come to Nashville and it completely, like, excuse my French, shits on Austin.
Oh, absolutely.
When it comes to music. You can't get away from it here. In Austin, you have to go find it, right? And you have to look it up to try to see who's playing where, and maybe they're playing at these 4 particular spots. But here you have live music in your Taco Bells. You have live music at the Tootsie's Airport at 6 a.m. in the morning every time that I'm there. So it's like, it's inundated with it. You cannot get away with it, which is what I absolutely love. I mean, that's what I moved here for.
Man, and one thing I've noticed, so I've been following you on Instagram. You do an amazing job. You actually were in earlier before we were filming right now. You're starting to get in the TikTok game and everything.
I know. It drives me crazy, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, TikTok isn't our jam. I mean, or at least not my jam either, because when I think about TikTok, I think about Vine and RIP Vine. But before all this, it was just Facebook and Instagram for me. But man, your personality freaking shines, man.
Wow, thank you.
No, straight up like that.
Thank you.
And the reason why I say that is because I feel like every time I watch a post, whether it's story, and it's a great, what's the @ just so everyone knows?
It's at Wit in Love, WHITNLOVE. However, I'm just changing it. So it's going to be changed in the next couple of days whenever Instagram finally is like, okay, we approve you and your changeover. And it's going to be Whitney Miller official, which I know is lame.
No, it's not.
But someone, Whitney Miller out there, won't give me her handle. So I had to add official to the end of it.
The irony about that is that you guys are in the same city now.
So who? There's another Whitney Miller?
Oh, you didn't know that? The Whitney Miller that you're talking about is actually a chef.
Oh, yeah. No, she has something else. There's there's a Whitney Miller who, I think she's like Master Whitney Miller,
yes,
or
Master
Whitney Miller Chef,
that's
or
right,
like there's something like that. Well, yeah, we've been competing against each other for a long time, me and Whitney Miller Chef. But there's another girl who's just Whitney Miller, has a private account. Damn. I'm sure she's lovely.
Yeah. But it's that time, right?
It's just I kind of need it. It would really help me out.
Well, first of all, like I said, you are making waves in the city within a year in. That is, I mean, and not only that, it's been fun to see from your first single dropping, right? So Dimond Country, and I remember what it was before that, but I like Dimond Country. I think that was a great name. And man, it was just like you came in here in a wrecking ball, and just started kicking everyone's butt right now.
Thank
in my opinion. Well, here's the thing. So when we're talking about Nashville, and we're talking about how much music is around Nashville. I mean, what's been your favorite venues that you've had the opportunity of playing in so far live?
I mean, I'm playing at the Listening Room coming up, and I've played there 3 times now, and I love the Listening Room because you can get really intimate with the audience, and afterwards I always encourage them to come up to me and talk to me and tell me what they thought of the songs and how they resonated with the message of the song. So I love that. I played Whiskey Jam, which is iconic and like legendary. You have to do that. I mean, you cannot hear yourself on the stage because it's so loud in there, but just being able to be on that stage 8 months after moving to Nashville, it was just mind-boggling to me. Yeah, exactly. So that was so much fun.
And not only that, it's when you think about it, I mean, this is looking deep at it, but think about all the people that have been on the stages, those stages, right? And I was talking to Brooke Taylor this season, the Big 98, and we were talking about how important it was that these venues are there for the artists that are going to be the next up. It's almost like, I don't know if you've noticed this yet, but Nashville does such a great job with the up and coming musicians and songwriters and everything that they're kind of prepping them to take over, the game in all regards of different genres.
Yeah, it's very true.
And what do you think about the acts that you've been singing up with in these live venues? Because it's what's the word? A writing session, or writing songs. My goodness, I can't think
Writers
right now.
rounds.
Writers rounds. Thank you.
Yep.
What do you think about it with all the other acts on stage?
God, I'm constantly blown away by the talent in this town. And sometimes honestly, I get insecure about it because I'll go to a venue or I'll go down Broadway or wherever, Tootsie's at 6 a.m. in the morning in the airport, and who's ever performing is just amazing. Yeah. And I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this. Like, you should be doing, you're way better than me, you know? And if you're out here like doing that, I have no chance. But that's just me, you know, getting into my own head. And that's like a really big process, I think, when it comes to being in this industry, is a lot of the times people are not going to cheer for you. Most of the time people aren't going to like what you sing. And there's always like this big judgment around it. But at the end of the day, like if you can lay your head down and say, I had fun today, or I'm proud of myself, or I did the thing that I wanted to do, that's really all that matters.
Conquering your fear.
It's conquering your fear, yep.
And I want to kind of talk about it in the beginning stages, because you were, man, there was so many accolades when I was looking you up. So like, talk to me about kickboxing and just being able, I mean, you talk about conquering your fears. I mean, coming from that side of the world to where you are today in music, I mean, talk about how you're able to use some of the traits from that and then bring it to the music industry today. Sure.
Yeah, it's, you know, I've been an athlete my whole life. I started playing soccer when I was 4 years old, and
you can keep up with them, and you can keep up with them in Corpus Christi?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was
keep fast. Like that's basically the only reason why I was on the soccer field. It's like, she's fast, put her up there to kick the ball towards the goal. I was just players. Yeah, they're so athletic. It's truly remarkable.
Hispanics do not play around. Mexican Hispanics in the areas that we grew up in, they play soccer.
Right.
Like, it's a different level. But anyway, keep going. You're an athlete.
Yeah, I've been an athlete my whole life. And throughout that time, I'm going to go back a little bit further, even before the kickboxing, because it all kind of comes in together. I competed I was a professional wake surfer in college, and I was always on the lake. And then I had a friend of mine call me and say, hey, do you want to do Miss Texas? And I was like, no. I'm not going to do that. That just was not my vibe at the time. But I had some sort of message that was just, as cliche as it sounds, like, you have to do this or you're going to regret it.
Because you had the opportunity.
I had the opportunity.
That's right.
And I like to compete in things. So I figure, why not? 1 week later, it was the pageant, and I borrowed.
Was that close?
Yeah, dude. It was like, this is like a Saturday or Sunday. She called me. I had to drive down to Galveston, Texas, where it was being held on Thursday.
Competing with all of them.
Yes,
oh
exactly. Gosh. So that was a trip, but I made my vow to myself, like, I'm always going to just be myself. I'm not going to try to go in there and be something I'm not. Like, just go be Whitney. And it worked out. I won swimsuit and I won the crown. Then I went to Miss United States, won Miss United States. And during that time, I was working out a lot, and I was with my ex-fiance at the time, Aubrey Marcus, and we started a company called On It. And there was a bunch of fighters, UFC fighters, that would come through to train. And I would train with them just for fitness reasons, and figured, well, this is kind of fun. And, you know, maybe I could do something like this. And I said, screw it, let's go. And when I handed my crown over as Miss United States, I made the announcement that I was going to be the first national beauty pageant winner to take a fight. And half the crowd gasped and thought I was insane. Exactly. Including my parents. And the other half of the crowd, you could just hear them, yeah, like probably the boyfriends and the dads of the crowd or whatever. And that's when I started getting into fighting. And I'm a blue belt in jiu-jitsu now, took a bunch of jiu-jitsu tournaments, went to Thailand, did full fight camp out in Thailand, full fight camp out in Santa Monica under Tony Jeffries.
Jeez Louise, no one can fuck with you, man, literally. Seriously. I mean,
it was such a crazy idea, though. Like, I look back and I'm thinking, God, you're crazy.
Well, it's not, I think you look at everything in a way of a competitor's mindset, and there's nothing wrong with that, because I think the best people, they may not want to admit it, but they look at everybody like they don't even want to admit it. I know they don't, that they want to be the best, and they want to compete against who they can. And if they see someone and say, you're doing this, I know I can beat you.
Yeah.
You have that internal fire. And I mean, I think it shows the moment you moved to Nashville, because you're taking on yet another arena that I think that you're just slowly tapping into and showing everyone that not only do you have the look, not only do you have the personality, not only that you can sing, you're also able to just deliver yourself. Is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, that was long-winded, man. I gotta take a slow down. Everyone thinks I'm from New York because I talk so fast, but no.
You do kind of give a New York vibe.
I don't think so. Cheers.
Yeah, this has been, I feel the most myself that I ever have in my entire life through everything that I've done. And I honestly, all of this started when I was 10 years old and someone really close to me told me I couldn't sing. And I stopped. I took it to heart. Like, I really identified with the fact that I couldn't sing. And if I were to sing in front of people, then that means that I wouldn't be loved. So it became paralyzing. It was a straight up phobia. I could not sing until it was something I always wanted to do, though, until like I finally just became too excruciating to live that way. And I woke up one day and was like, I'm terrified. I am more terrified of waking up on my deathbed with this dream inside of me than taking the steps, even the smallest little steps, to just see what happens. And I'm not going to do that anymore. And so from that moment, I hired a vocal coach. This is 5 years ago. So up until then, I literally could not sing in front of people. I would either shut down, I would start crying, I would leave the room. I couldn't do it. My body would go into fight or flight mode. And I've been working with like a therapist to get through it. Started working with my vocal coach just to practice opening my voice in front of somebody. And then I went into a studio. He wanted me to do a project for him, which was the scariest freaking thing I could possibly think of. Singing in front of more than one person. Oh my God, no. But I did it. I finally said yes. And the owner of the studio was there, heard me sing, and was like, if you're interested in doing this, I want to help you. All you have to do is say yes. And that's been my motto, is say yes. Just say yes and worry about how you're going to deal with the fear afterwards. And I said yes to him, and I've never said no again.
I'll let you get a little drink of that because you're pouring your heart out on that one. I love that. So look, one thing I'm very thankful for, and that's kind of the same motto. I started the show 5 months ago. You guys know this by now. And starting it 5 months ago, I was able to get Daddy's Dog. Shout out to Sean Porter. I appreciate you, bro. And anyways, when I got Daddy's Dogs, I didn't realize that it was going to open up my credibility within the city. And it's just because he's all over the place, right? Who doesn't know what Daddy's Dogs looks like?
I haven't had a Daddy's Dog, but this is probably the 5th conversation I've had about Daddy's Dogs.
Well, I
need one.
You remember in Texas, people in Texas that watch this will probably remember that. You remember Bill Miller's?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I used to go there all the time. Chopped beef sandwich, iced tea.
I love that there's someone in front of me that actually knows what I'm talking about like this. So look, y'all. So I'm gonna tell you guys like this. So Bill Miller's is the Daddy's Dogs of South Texas. And what do I mean by that? He doesn't serve hot dogs. He serves like kind of fast food barbecue. But the thing is, though, if you think about it, Bill Miller's is in the best locations in almost San Antonio and in Corpus. I think Corpus had one, if I remember, but
yeah.
But anyway, it's in one of the best locations. So when I moved here and I saw Daddy's Dogs, I was like, yo, why is he in everywhere? Why is he? I got to talk to the guy. But long story to say this is that by you saying yes, by you accepting, the invitations to the Heart of the Gulch and the invitations to all these ride-arounds, you are growing in this city ridiculously fast.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Thank you. It's crazy. I just actually announced on my way here that I'm playing a private Super Bowl party and I'm opening for Chase Rice and Brian Kelly from Florida Georgia Line.
What?
Which is insane. It's insane.
You said that what, in the car right now?
In the car.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. I can't. I don't like that. Those are one of the moments that your hard work really does pay off. And I have no idea where it goes from here, but I'm just looking at the next thing like, okay, you can do this and you deserve this.
Talk about the hard work, though, because I think that's one thing that if anyone could say anything about you is that you're able to not only you work behind the scenes. I think that's the biggest thing is that, and people think that all this happens just because I say record. No, there's a long process to go behind it. So talk about your work ethic not only just in the music industry, but talk about where it originally came from, your work ethic.
I really think it came from sports, but also my parents. You know, my mom was very successful in business. She was a professional windsurfer growing up. My dad was a professional sailor. He was also very successful in business as well. And he always taught me, if you want something, you have to do it. Mm-hmm. And he never handed me anything either. And I grew up with a single father. He was the one that raised me. So I was just very in that mindset. Okay, if I want something, I have to do it. Mm-hmm. Daddy's not going to do it for me. No one's going to come in my life and save me. I have to do it. And I think really it comes down to the fact that so many people want things to happen for them, mm-hmm. but they don't want to do the boring stuff. They don't want to do the stuff that's annoying and frustrating and to figure it out. They just want a few steps here and then they get the golden nugget. And that doesn't happen. It's the morning routines. It's how you talk to yourself. It's if you're going to therapy. It's who you surround yourself with. It's, mm-hmm. you know, practicing the guitar, which drives me insane, but I have to do it. And there's just so many things that I think I've taken my athletic mentality into music, mm-hmm. and even with vocals for me, particularly because that's my biggest fear and has been my biggest fear, mm-hmm.
of
just not feeling good enough in that way. Mm-hmm. I knew that I wouldn't do my vocal warm-ups on my own. I just knew I wouldn't do it. I know myself enough. So now I just hire coaches. Mm-hmm. So my vocal coach, instead of going to her once a month or mm-hmm. once a week, like most people do, mm-hmm. I go to her 5 to 6 times a week. And I'm just on a training schedule because I know how to do that. That's where I thrive. Okay, show up at this time, do these exercises, leave. Same with athletics. Mm-hmm. I got that. So I just try to like merge all of these tools into like one toolbox to make it work for me.
And you know, and what you're not giving yourself enough credit in, and this is what I'm going to keep on praising you for, is that some people do put that work in though. Some people do put in that work in and they deliver a product, sing or whatever they do, and it may not hit the masses, right?
Sure.
You're hitting the masses right now, but you know what I think it is because folks like me who are looking from behind the lens, behind the camera, behind the phone, is that you can tell certain people that have things. Mm-hmm. You can tell from not only by the way they carry themselves, but the way that they look and everything. And I'm going to say this as well, because one of our alumnus for Heart of the Gulch is, Taylor Austin Dye is one of the alumnus for Heart of the Gulch. And she can sing her ass off. But you know what else? What got my attention is she has the fucking look.
Yeah.
You have the look for the music that you're singing.
Thank you.
And I think it's killing it. I don't know, have you always had this look?
I've had it for a while now. I mean, I didn't always have it. No, I mean, I was Miss United States. So I had the long, blonde, pageant patty hair, mm-hmm. you know, that was 75% extensions, mm-hmm. you know, and so I took it out and I had it short, I had it black, I had it, you know, I did all of the things. But I probably had this one now for 6 years and it's just been short rocking and fun, and I'm growing a mullet out right now because that sounds like a good idea. I don't know. I just figure why not?
You're finding your wave.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, one thing that you're really good at too is also titling everything. That's and not only from Dimond Country, right? From 15 Minutes to Fame.
Yeah,
the titles of it are so important. We were talking with the Russell Hat Company a second ago. Is that titling your product and titling those posts, creating those posts, those buzzwords?
Yeah,
it brings people to you like that.
For sure. It's something I had to learn, you know, and I think a lot of people don't understand how much work goes into podcasting. Another thing that we were just talking about is the behind the scenes work. And anyone that comes to me and says, hey, I want to start a podcast, what do you recommend? I'm like, one, know that no one's going to listen to it for a while.
Nobody.
You know?
That's right.
If you want to make money, don't start a podcast for a while, you know, and it's going to be way harder than you think. It's like having a second job. So if you still want to do it after all of that and you're just passionate about connecting with people and having interesting conversations, then go for it. Mm-hmm. But if you're getting into it for exposure or money or ease, mm-hmm. is not the place.
Absolutely not. And I mean, one thing that I've realized, and I've realized with watching that episode too, is that how difficult it could be to talk on certain type of, like, you hit dead spots in conversations. You really do. Mm-hmm. Right. So there'll be times where there'll be that awkward pause. But when I was growing up, if you had an awkward pause, I was always the person to try to pick it back up.
Yeah.
So it's always weird to me whenever we have an awkward pause and I'm just like, and then you move on to the next question. But it's long format. Podcasting is a long format.
Right.
It's unlike anything else. But let's talk about a little bit more about you and talk about these studio sessions I've been seeing you in lately. I mean, so Nashville is one of the things that you guys don't know. If you guys do know, you better know that Nashville has one of the best recording studio scenes in the country. People in doghouses have recording studios here.
Yeah.
So what's been some of your favorite? Have you only been recording in one studio so far?
One studio. I've been to 3 here, 3 smaller ones. One nice one in Austin, which is Orb Recording Studios, but I'm recording here at Omni Studios here on Music Row. It's great. I mean, I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm releasing new music every month this year, which is insane.
Well, the 15 Minutes of Fame, I think is, I like that one more than Dimond Country personally.
Yeah, I do too.
It's just more, it's more intimate. So for all you guys, and you can stream it everywhere.
Yeah, it's out now everywhere.
Absolutely. And it's a different vibe from your first release. But the thing is, it's a lot more vulnerable.
Yep.
It's gonna mess up that word right there. And then not only that, it actually shines your voice a lot more, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you said you're dropping something every month for this year?
Yeah. It's usually not what artists do. You don't see that very often because one, they want to give, one of their singles time to promote it and all of that, like 15 Minutes of Fame. Like, I think it's a couple of months or like 3 months or something. And I'm just not playing that game. I don't have time to do that. I have so much music that I want to put out. I'm independent right now, so I can do what I want to do. And I want to put as much music as I can. So I'm going to do probably 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop something new.
So I guess, by the time this is out, that means you will probably have at least another single to another single. So almost 2 singles in, maybe 2 singles. And
that'll be exciting. I'm excited because it'll be cool to see.
Have you seen the growth?
Where we're at.
Have you seen the growth between the last single to this one?
Yeah, this single's doing way better than the last one. I mean, the last single was premiered by CMT.com, which awesome, dream come true. But 15 Minutes of Fame was premiered by People.com, even bigger, which is just, again, I just keep having these moments, like I have to pinch myself. It's hard for me to put into words how meaningful everything that's going on is. I feel like I walk around Nashville in my life with star emojis. It was just like, you're doing it.
That's
You're
the way you need to do it.
Doing it,
I had that moment today, actually. If you looked on my personal page, what I did is I was going to Quantum, right where I go around the Gulch somewhere. And anyway, so as I'm getting ready, I have my pre-workout in me, so I'm ready to roll. And I walk in, I'm like, dude, I have a fucking studio.
How cool, right?
Yeah. It's like, I remember back in the day, like when we were growing up, I had a studio. I was recording kids back in the day, but more music wise. And I slept on a couch. I turned my bed into a couch, and I just had people come in, kind of like what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
So it's not out of tune. But anyway, what's amazing about it is that gratitude.
Yeah.
That moment that you're having right now, where it's just like you're walking, you're living every day, being like, shit, I'm really doing this. And the thing is, I'm sure that you're getting people saying, hey, I recognize you. How's that feeling like?
It feels awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it really feels amazing. And like I said, I still have to pinch myself. I still have to realize that this is the life that I wanted to live my entire life that I wouldn't allow myself to do. I was too afraid to do it. And finally, I started taking the little baby steps to get me to where I'm at now. So honestly, I'm grateful for it all because I know what the other side feels like, and I can't do that to myself anymore.
Okay. So here's some quick clickbait questions real quick. Who's your number one favorite? Let's just say, what's your favorite genre? Seriously.
Country.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then let's go a little deeper. From country, who do you like to listen to the most on your Spotify or Apple Music?
I'm usually right now I'm really into the Cadillac 3. I love that. But I'm a Gretchen Wilson girl.
Yeah?
Yeah. I love her.
Okay. And then what about favorite venue, favorite concert you've ever been to that inspired you?
So funny. Someone asked me this yesterday, and I'm surprised by it because I went to it and I didn't think it was going to be a very good concert, and I kind of got dragged by one of my friends, and it was a Maroon 5 concert.
Ooh, shout out to Adam Levine.
It was a life-changing concert. Like, I just the way that he performs, how beautiful the stage was, like his energy, the energy of the crowd. It was epic.
Yeah?
Epic.
Damn, where was it located?
It was at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin at the F1 track there.
Wow, and it was just out of just crazy. I
was like laughing at myself. I'm like, I'm going to a Maroon 5 concert later, you know? And then I go and I'm like, oh my God, this changed my life.
Well, that's amazing. That means that they were able to do their job.
Crushed it.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So then more questions. I got little quick questions. Another good question is, in Nashville, since you said that maybe there may not be the best food available, what is your favorite place to go out and eat here? What would you say?
You know what? My go-to is Bar Taco.
Really?
I just love, like, they have those plantains.
I was not expecting that.
I love Bar Taco. Blanco on Broadway, best frozen margaritas in town.
So that's actually something I want to do this year. This year, I want to put a list together of all the best margaritas to go to in Nashville. So you think it's going to be them?
Frozen.
Okay. Frozen. Hey, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
Okay. So then outside of that, what do you like do you enjoy the scene that there's always constantly in Nashville? There's just an abundance of tourism here. I mean, it's different from Austin. Austin is tourism, but I think you and I both know, and for the people that don't know, I would say 6th Street. You probably heard of 6th Street. It's not what it used to be.
No, not at all. I can't go to 6th Street.
I don't want to go to 6th Street. And then they have, what's the other street that's on there? The little like Rainy Street.
That's almost completely gone now.
And that's not what it used to be. I believe Rainy back in the day when we were growing up was actually kind of the gay bar scene, if I remember correctly. You
might be talking about 2nd Street, but Rainy Street is where they have all the little houses that turned into bars.
That look like East Nashville.
It used to just be a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like a crappy little neighborhood right next to the highway. But
and that's being torn down.
Yeah, there's tons of high rises up now.
Well, so how does it feel to be in Nashville where it's like it's a little bit more like what 6th Street used to be?
Yeah, and I love it. Wow. But I think we have a few good years left in us here. Like there's so many people moving here.
Absolutely.
You know, it's going to change.
I mean, but you know, we are the people that are changing it.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds.
True. I know. I'm like, we need better food. We need this.
Well, and then, so going back to the recording studio question that I have here. So you said that sometimes you felt more insecure about, was it performing live or was it recording sessions? Which one was it?
Either one.
Well,
I could say it could be, but also you really have to tap in emotionally to what you're singing because that comes across on the mic. And so, you know, depending on, I have 15 Minutes of Fame was a much more vulnerable song. It's a fun song and it's a sassy song, but it's based on a true story. You know, my next song coming out called Nobody is a cheating song that has a lot of anger in it. And so it takes some practice to be in a room alone with a few other people deciding if they like that take or not. And, you know, you just have to like get into this mentality. So it's a little bit challenging. I myself am a performer. Like I love to just go out there and whip my hair and kick my leg and like high five the crowd. Like I just love doing that. So I feel like I almost, as of now, feel a bit more comfortable or I have more fun doing that than I do in the studio. That could change though. We never know.
Well, also the studio would be considered work versus when you're out there, it's still work when you're working the crowd.
Yeah.
But it's more of, like you're saying, that performer element.
It's just so much fun.
And then also you just get to see everyone and they're all giving you the same energy back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in our crowd noise section, actually someone got it confused saying that you're an MMA fighter. Mm-hmm. And now I'm just wondering this guy. I know you can kick my ass, but the thing is, well, I don't know. I don't know. But
you look solid over there.
Pretty solid. But anyway, so with that being said, no, actually, now that we talk about it, because you were saying that you've professionally trained with MMA fighters, you could probably kick my ass. I will
probably have better technique. I'm not going to lie.
There you go. Yes. I may just have a little brute strength in the beginning, but once you fucking get me down, I don't think I can do anything. But speak a little bit about your fighting history before we go into this crowd noise question?
Yeah. So a lot of people think that I'm an MMA fighter, like currently, but I'm not. I went out to full fight camp in Thailand for MMA. So I did MMA fight camp. I did full fight camp for boxing. So technically I'm trained, under mixed martial arts.
Quote unquote, professionally.
Yeah. And lots of jujitsu. So yeah, it's there, but I'm not currently an MMA fighter. I get the itch every once in a while to punch somebody in the face.
I can understand that.
But it would have to be something for like a charity event or something like that, because it really takes a toll on yourself mentally and emotionally. And I feel like I'm already doing so much.
Have you ever broke any bones or anything like that?
Yeah. I've popped my elbow capsule when I got caught in an arm bar and I tapped too late. I've broken, you break toes and fingers a lot. I actually broke a girl's elbow and dislocated her shoulder in a jiu-jitsu match. I took her down, and
that deserves an applause because that's pretty kick ass right there.
I cried. Y'all can go look at this on YouTube. Whitney Miller breaks an arm or something like that. And I started crying my face off. I felt so bad.
I just love that. That's what would be the tagline. It would be like, Whitney really breaks something. Okay, well, like I said, we teed it up for crowd noise, so let's knock out this crowd noise question real quick. Let's do it.
Hey, Whitney, what is one trait or quality that you brought from fighting in the MMA to the music industry?
That's a great question. I think it's a little bit of what we were talking about earlier, which is mainly just the mentality of athleticism and focusing on the things that I need to do and not being scared to do them.
It's breaking your fear.
It's breaking your fear, right? And I also tell myself, look, I got into a ring with someone who wanted to punch my face off. I can go into a studio and sing, so I do have I'm able to compare the two in a way that I find very helpful for me. But it's really just that mentality of you signed up for this, so you're going to show up and you're going to do it to the best of your ability. And if you mess up or you don't do as well as you thought you did, you didn't fail, but you learned. And that's what we always said in jiu-jitsu and boxing is you didn't lose, you learned. So let's go back to the drawing board, see what we need to do better here and do better next time.
I mean, that's exactly right. And not only that, it's just you have the ability to, I can tell that you're very thankful.
God, I'm so thankful.
And I can tell that because that comes across. It comes across because we see your personality out on these social media platforms is that it sounds like you're very thankful. So when you go into these situations, like getting in a ring, first of all, your heart, regardless if you're getting in front of a stage, a microphone or a ring or a beauty pageant, your heart's going pop, 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 pop.
Oh my God.
Right? So actually I got the sound for that. Like that.
Mine's going way faster than that for sure.
Well, that's a very chill heartbeat.
Yeah, that guy's chilling.
That guy's playing R&B. That's what he's doing. Now, you have adrenaline, right? But the thing is, where I can see that you pay homage in a way, and you're very, like I said, thankful. So I think there's something in you that goes in that clicks the moment you jump in these situations, and you're like, yeah, I'm doing this, but it's because I'm thankful that I have the ability to do it. Is that about right?
Yeah. And I have the chance. How cool is it that I get to go perform my own music in Nashville, the music city, for people who came out to listen to me
sing. The hottest time.
In the hottest time.
Give yourself some fucking credit. In the hottest time.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, it's awesome. That's why I say I literally walk around like a star eye emoji, just holy shit. This is awesome.
So what's been the pinch me moment last year? What's the pinch me moment last year? 2022.
Pinch me moment last year was probably recording my music video for Dimond Country.
And I saw the behind the scenes because it's on your channel. Yeah. Actually, I would tell everyone to do that. So listen to Dimond Country, but also more importantly, watch the behind the scenes, because the behind the scenes, you see how excited she is to do that song, and how like I said, it's not only excitement, it's thankfulness, right? You are very thankful in that behind the scenes.
Thank you. I mean, I couldn't do this on my own. You know,
talk about the team.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's all about the team. Tyler Wolf is the director of that music video who made that whole thing possible.
It was beautiful.
And Penny Painter wrote the song with me. She was also in the music video with me dancing in one of the scenes.
Got it.
And I had a bunch of girlfriends that came out just to support me through all of that. And really the main guy who made all of this happen was Matt Nevesky. And I truly owe him. I want to be able to support him for the rest of my life, just from my career, if I never even talk to him again, because we talk all the time, but he's the one that saw me sing that day in the studio and said, if you want to do this, let me know. He opened the door. All I had to do was walk through it, and I owe him everything.
Hey man, you're preaching to the choir here, because I owe you guys, everyone that sits in that chair, I owe you guys the best work we can do here in the heart of the Gulch to give you guys an amazing, not only experience, but also having all this stuff together, doing the behind the scenes and all those things. My thank you for you showing up today is 10 times fold more than what you could even, so I think that's amazing.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
I appreciate it. All right, here we go. So let's go to one of the last question, actually, right here. Let's do it.
Is your favorite publication you've ever been posted on?
What is your favorite publication you've ever been posted on?
Jeez. I mean,
I thought that was a good question.
Trying to think.
It's a lot of publications, I assume.
There's definitely, I'm trying to think like back in the day, because I know I've done like men's fitness and that stuff. That's been really cool. I hate to do this.
Do it.
But I think it might be people.com.
I mean, come on.
That's huge. I couldn't believe it, And the cool thing about that for me is the one song that I've come out with now that is very vulnerable, that, I put my real feelings and story. I had a very up and down journey with that song, just emotionally trying to be okay with
from the past
and just saying, like, is this okay for me to say?
Yes.
And am I allowed to say this? Or maybe I shouldn't say this, but I just had to anchor into my truth and be like, just speak your heart and follow that. Stop wondering how people are going to feel about it. And that was the one that got picked up. And that's the one that's gaining, so much steam right now. And that's the one that's opening so many doors for me. And that just really, to me, how I translate that is follow your heart and don't be afraid to do so.
Absolutely. That's and you know what I think I'm more excited for is I'm excited for these other releases that you're able to produce, because it sounds like you have a plan, and your plan is to give a different type of vibe every single experience that you deal with, or just that we see, that we listen to.
Yeah. And
I think that is so amazing, because I was not expecting, I'll be honest, after Dimond Country, I was not expecting 15 Minutes of Fame at all. And that's from from a fan perspective, looking back at it, I'm just like, all right, it's going to be more of this kind of poppier country sound. And it was a complete opposite 180 of that, where it was like, oh, it's showcasing your voice, showcasing the lyrics. And I was like, man, okay. I was like, all right. It's that's more me. Dimond Country I like because it's an aspect of me. It's very loud and in your face and have a good time and dance on the show the boots, kick the boots up,
wear some fun boots and shake your booty and all of that, because that's definitely an aspect of me. But now all of these songs that I have coming out are really anchored in what are all the things I was too afraid to say. And that's what I keep trying to do when I'm going into these writing sessions and into the studio, is this is your point to unleash everything you were too afraid to say to somebody, or even say to yourself, or even admit out loud. And now they're just going into my lyrics. I
mean, how would you say that your first initial release was craving to the masses more than craving to yourself?
No, because Dimond Country is so different that I knew it was going to be a polarizing song. I knew some people were really going to like it, and I knew some people weren't really going to like it. It gave your person.
So I guess if I were to look at these two, so at the time, like I said, this is going to be out later on, but at the time there is two singles that have been released, which is Dimond Country and 15 Minutes of Fame. And looking at Dimond Country, it just gives if you could sum up your look and the vibe that you give off, it's going to be that song. It is that little extraness to it. It is that I'm going to wear these nice boots. I'm going to have a badass haircut, and we're going to have a kick-ass time at the shows.
Exactly.
And you know what? I guess if you look at it that way, that's the best way you should come out to the masses is like, look, I'm here.
Let's go.
And then, like I said, that's what freaked me out the most when 15 Minutes of Fame came out. Because then I was like, oh, like I said, more vulnerable, a lot more of the lyrics, and it relies heavily on her voice. Mm-hmm. So you have that side about you. And like I said, and now we're going to, and you said the second, possibly the third single could be The Angry.
Well, no, for sure the third single, because I'm going to the studio next week and we're cutting it. We're I got to get on the ball here. Hey, well, I can't sit still for too long.
The goal, yeah, damn right. That's the sad thing about social media, ain't it?
Yeah.
You got to keep feeding the damn beast. It doesn't end.
I think even, yes, when it comes to social media, but I'm also that way. I'm such a person that's like, oh my God, I gotta go. I gotta do something. I can't sit here. I'm just like, have you ever seen goats? This is a total tangent.
Of course.
Like crazy goats that just bounce around everywhere. Like that is
Have you ever seen goats? I love that.
I am a goat. Like they're my spirit animal. They're just kind of spastic. They're fun. You want to like hug them and cuddle them, but like they're going to bounce around and
don't goats faint though?
Well, those are fainting goats.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. You're not a fainting goat.
I'm not a fainting goat.
Yeah, you don't faint in front of the people.
No. Okay. Not yet, at least. I mean, shoot,
no, don't
put
say that. All right.
there.
We're not putting that out there. All right. So, all right. I want to ask about the haters that we all have. I got them. You got them. I mean, how do you deal with it? How are you going beyond whatever the heck people are saying online that do not have the nerve to say it to your face? I tell you that right now, if they knew about your background.
You'd be surprised. There's some wild people out there.
Yeah, but they don't want to see you.
Right.
Let's be honest.
So I think for me, I've been in these positions to where I've heard it all a little bit, like from pageantry, you get haters from doing that.
Yeah.
Particularly the podcast, because we're talking about very taboo, controversial topics. And anytime you shake someone's idea of something, most of the time they get prickly.
If they're listening to it, they're into it.
Yeah, exactly. But it does challenge them enough to be like, oh, well, what do you mean? You don't even know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. So thankfully, I've kind of had these experiences of dealing with haters. And so now I'm in the place to where I expect it. I expect someone to not like my stuff. I expect someone to talk shit on my voice. Tell them I look like a dude. I hear that all the time because I have short hair, and it's like all of this ridiculous stuff that I just have to make sure that I'm proud of myself. And if I'm doing exactly as I want to do and putting out the music that I want to do and I'm happy, then I try to be rooted as much as in that. And like it sounds easier than it actually is. Like don't get it twisted.
Every day's different.
Every day is different. That's a very good point, because it's like if I'm feeling tired and down on myself that day and someone says, hey, your song sucks, I'm like, God, it does suck. I should quit my whole job.
I know it. I know.
And I might feel that way for 10, 15 minutes, but I think it's also finding like the next best thing that you can do to make yourself feel better. So like for me, it's going for a walk or taking a shower.
That's what I was going to ask. How do you stay grounded?
Yeah, I would say just trying to get in nature as much as possible.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's right. I did see actually a video of you out on the lake. I hope it wasn't this lake.
Wake surfing.
It wasn't this lake, right?
No, y'all don't wake surf enough here.
No, let's be honest though. The water here ain't really the cleanest. We think about Austin and you think about people on paddle boards. I would not jump naked inside the Cumberland River.
What about, there's like Old Hickory.
I'm not walking. Have you ever been inside Old Hickory?
Yeah. I'm still standing.
Oh,
Look,
bro,
Old Hickory Lake is not going to take me out. That's not how Whitney Miller dies.
I have a on the show. All right. And then last question I got is 2023. What are you looking forward to the most?
Oh, man. I'm looking forward to, you know what? I'm actually just really excited to see where this year goes. I don't know what's coming next, which excites me. I know that I'm going to be putting out a lot of music, every month. I know I'm getting bigger opportunities already in the second month of 2023. And so I'm just really excited to see where it goes. I'm trying not to control it too much and try to, get too attached to certain things that I want. And it's just being that star eye emoji and saying like, all right, 2023, what do you have for me?
Yeah. So the last section of our show is my favorite part of the show because I get to see you do your thing, whether it's recording session. We've done one live session. That's with Taylor Austin Dye. Shout out to Taylor Austin Dye. Thank you so much for joining on the show. But anyways, it's up to you what you would love your fans to see. And my goal is to make sure whatever we do at Walk the Line, which is AKA Day in the Life, is I just want them to see a different side, something that they may not see everywhere else. All right. Well, cool. Yeah, exactly. So but the way that we tee it off is you look straight into that camera right there, say your name and say, this is how I walk the line. And then that's when we're going to transition right into your day in the life. You ready to roll?
Just say, hi, I'm Whitney Miller.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to give you applause. I'm going to give you a countdown and make it a little bit more official. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, and
hey y'all, I'm Whitney Miller and this is how I walk the line.
Hey,
Welcome to OmniSounds Studios. We're tracking some instrumentals and getting ready for the new song release that we're doing later with Bill McDermott. So come on, check it out.
The shorter one.
I just like how I like the placement of it at the end.
Only at the end? Okay, gotcha.
Okay, yeah.
Rhythmically, the way that we want it closer to, because I almost want to make sure you get.
To make it a little bit more angry of a song?
Oh yeah, we cut the instrumentals like a while ago, and it was just a little too Latin reggae vibe. Like it was just a little bit too like happy almost. And this song is not about it being happy. It's about being cheated on, and like you need to be sad and like heart wrenching, you know, because it's called Nobody. No one has a name, you know, and so I want it to be angrier and kind of like crunchier and kind of like almost like this primal heart-wrenching kind of vibe. And we want like that grungier, kind of crunchier, mean sound to it a bit.
Right.
So that's what we're figuring out right now.
Yeah, this is pre-production basically for we're about to go in, like she said, with all the players and everything else. We're just kind of getting a good roadmap for kind of what we want to present to them when we bring it into the studio. So I'm just fishing around right now and just doing stuff. The players will actually play to a little sketch that we have kind of created if it really feels like it's barking up the right tree, and then other times we'll just use that as a quick little roadmap and they'll improve upon it. But sometimes they will play to it.
And they're like they're masters. It's crazy how fast
they're so good.
They work. They can hear it one time and go in there and just nail it. It's crazy.
This is all solo.
Yeah.
So basically what we've got here, we just basically did a bunch of pre-production, get ready to go in with the band. We've got everything dialed in, kind of created a couple of new feels, a couple of new situations where, you know, plan-wise, we know what we want. And they're going to expand upon that, and they're going to make it, you know, just absolutely killer. So we're excited about it. And then that's why we came in to do all that work before we go record.
Yeah, right on. And you guys will get to see it as soon as the song comes out.